Hi, it's Elle here from Beyond Expectations. In this video, we'll be discussing a pretty big topic, and that is how do we transform and reshape our body when we're dealing with suffering, when we're dealing with a loss in the family, and particularly when we're dealing with the death of a family member. I'm going to read out the question and then I'll give you my answer, and it goes like this. Thank you so much for your videos. Inspiration. I am 52, put on some weight after my brother passed away. Eating was my comfort moment. I would like to get back into shape. I wonder how much time you spent on working out during your 9-month period. How long was your cardio exercise per day and how much weight training per day? Cheers. Thank you so much for your question, Frank. My condolences for your loss. John and I both read your question and discussed it together, and we were deeply moved by what you wrote, and we are very sorry to hear that your brother passed away. First of all, we would like to say, don't be so hard on yourself. We totally understand and we get it. It is a difficult time, and it's completely understandable that you would eat comfort food during this difficult time for yourself, your family, your friends, basically everyone who is involved and who's known your brother. So we're very sorry to hear this. Now, in regards to what you can do moving forward. Now, to answer your questions, how much cardio did I do and how much weights did I do? I did 30 minutes of walking, and only walking, because it was something that I can do consistently. And I did it for 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. And quite often I wouldn't even do that. And I'll get onto that in a minute. I also did 30 minutes of resistance training with weights, and I'll do full body workouts. And that was 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. And quite often I wouldn't even do that. I say 3 to 5 times a week because it just depends on what I could do. And the reason for that being, during that 9-month period, I had a newborn, I had an infant, and John was sick and is sick now, and I had to care for him. So there was a lot on my plate. So I didn't put training as my top priority. I've got to be honest with you. I really didn't, because I had so much other expectations, particularly with a newborn. They don't sleep when you want them to, and they wake up constantly. And I had an infant to care for, and she was still just a baby herself and needed a lot of care. And my husband, who also needed my assistance. So that was not a top priority for me. The only thing that I could control was what went into my mouth, and that was my food. So that's the one thing that I did control. Moving forward, when you are dealing with a difficult circumstance, I feel like, particularly when you are dealing with the loss of a family member, as you get older, you quite often have more losses than gains. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when you're in your 20s or your early 30s, you gain more than you lose, generally speaking. That's not the case for everyone, but generally speaking, as you hit 40 to 50s, you start losing. And that may be a family member, that may be your own health, that may be the loss of a child or their health, or even your own body starting to deteriorate. Your eyes, your joints, your back, whatever the case may be, you start to lose as you get older. The longer that you're on this earth, the more that you lose. And what really rubs me up the wrong way, particularly with these young folk, I find it a big thing on Instagram, where, you know, they're training really hard, and it's almost like a glamour reel of how fabulous life is when you exercise. That's not really the case in reality, because we have real lives, real situations, and things that we have to deal with. Life is hard. It gets harder as you get older. It really does, because life starts to take things away from you. It's hard for me to make this video for you, to be honest. I felt like rolling up in a little ball and crying my little eyes out, because the loss of a family member is something that I've dealt with personally. Having a chronically ill husband, I face death in the face every day, and it's not easy, and that's okay. I don't think it's supposed to be easy. It reminds us of our own mortality. Life is short. Be kind to yourself. Do not be so hard. Look, there's nothing wrong with having dreams and wanting to reshape, transform your body and be better than what you currently are. But do not torture yourself to do it. Do not speak negative to yourself. Do not feed your body rubbish that you know you shouldn't be having. Look, those people that we have lost would be looking down on us and they would want us to be healthy and well. There are two main things that I would suggest to you moving forward. The first one is you need to speak to a professional, because everyone deals with grief. Sorry, I'm having a difficult time saying this. Please speak to a professional, because everyone deals with grief differently. Everyone has their own way of grieving. So you must speak with someone, your general practitioner, your doctor. You need to have a chat with them and they can give you some ways to move forward. Depending on what country you live in, there is counselling that can be available to you. Quite often it is free, or it could even be at a low price, depending on where you live. I know here in Australia that I think they give you 4 sessions complimentary, depending on your circumstances. So do speak with someone professional who can help you to move forward. That would be my first tip. My second tip is make sure that you are eating good whole foods. You're going to feel better if you're eating better. We all know what it's like to eat stuff our face with chocolates and cookies and cakes, have a massive sugar high and then come plummeting down. Look, John and I are all for 1 day off a week so that you're not a robot and that you can function as a human being, but don't make a habit of it. It shouldn't be every single day. 1 day a week is fine, but for the other 6 days, make sure that you're eating whole foods, stuff that comes out of the ground, fresh foods. Steer clear of things that come out of a packet or a can. Canned vegetables or canned beans or whatever the case may be can be okay. Just check there's no added nasties or preservatives. Stick to eating whole foods and you generally will feel better because your body's getting the adequate nutrients and vitamins that it needs. So that's the 2 things that you can do. The third thing is, if you'd like to do some exercise, do some walking, something gentle. Don't be too hard on your body, because your body is going through a state of grief. You're already in a traumatic state. You don't need to overstress the body. Give your body self-care. You may even benefit more from a warm bath, reading a book that you enjoy, listening to some good music, watching a movie. Do things that you enjoy and that make you happy, because this is a time of loss, of sadness and of grief. Do not make your life more difficult by making your life hard unnecessarily. Again, Frank, our condolences for your loss. We are very sorry to hear this, both John and I. Moving forward, we hope that you take good care of yourself. Please speak to your doctor about finding a plan forward of how you can get through this. Eat some whole foods, move if you need to, but most of all, have self-love and be kind to yourself. We understand as you get older, life starts to take things away from you. And that's just the fact of life. Don't let these young ones hype you up into believing that you shouldn't feel the way that you should feel, because it's hard for us all, and as you get older, you certainly do realize it. Thank you so much for watching. I really do hope this helps. I hope that it encourages you in some small way. We made Beyond Expectations in the way that we did. We didn't make it hypey, we didn't make it fake. There was a lot of pressure from industry experts to make it like The Biggest Loser or shows like that, where it's very hypey and it's not often authentic and it's not real and it's not what it's like for a regular person reshaping and transforming their body and going on to the World Championships in New York City. We hope that you can use Beyond Expectations as a tool to motivate you, to encourage you, and to help you to realize you're not alone, that we all suffer and we all have great losses. And I am someone who's personally experienced a great deal of loss in my life throughout my childhood and throughout my adult life. And you're not alone. We are here, and we're going to constantly make these videos to encourage you, to inspire you, to uplift you, and to be someone here that is here for you at 3 o'clock in the morning. John and I like to call it the dark night of the soul, where you feel alone and you feel like no one's listening. We're here, we can hear you, we understand, we get it, we've been there too. Keep moving forward, don't give up.